Now this is the shadow of the trees, done very simply in a mixture of raw umber and just a little white. And using the same mixture for some shadows underneath the eaves. And then putting in the same shadows on the front wall, keeping the window frames clear of any paint. I think when you look at his paintings, he just used pure watercolour, nothing else. No masking fluid, no gouache. And with the same colour, I'm just putting in a shadow on the side building, on the left hand side of the cottage. And then varying the colour of the bushes in the front of the house. Just warming up just a little bit there for on the right hand side, a little bit of burnt sienna. It's a warmer colour. But as you can see, very neutral colours. I didn't really particularly want to copy a painting of his, but just give you a feeling for maybe just how he would have approached a simple watercolour like this. Just keeping everything very simple. I think with these kind of paintings, the actual putting on of the paint needs to be done quite rapidly, but the work beforehand, using the sketches and photographs and that kind of thing, using it all, getting it all ready beforehand, can take quite a while. And even preliminary sketches. And this particular watercolour, I did do a quick version before I did this final version, so that it just helps my kind of painting memory. Using grey as a shadow colour here, Payne's grey, a little bit of French ultramarine. Just putting some shadow in on the side of the cottage. And then putting in some areas of darker shadow on these on the front of the cottage, which is from the shadow cast by the trees on the right hand side. And then just a quick flick in the in the window frames, where they'd be reflecting the what's outside, the light of the trees and things, clouds. Neutral tint, very dark. For the shadow of the eaves. And just looking around the painting for some areas that I'm going to be using the darkest tones. And the road itself here is going to be left in the white paper. And the sky, which I'll be doing later. In fact, I'll be doing the sky probably last. As I think that's something he did as well. Pop the sky in last sometimes. Making these chimney pots really stand out with light red really draws your eye to them. Keeps your eye focused on this cottage focal point of the painting. Now I'm going to be removing what I can of the pencil marks here. With Edward Seago did some of his watercolours, you couldn't just about see the pencil marks, but because I put such a thick pencil mark on, especially with these background trees, I don't really want to see those pencil marks. So giving it a good rub with a putty rubber, and most of them can be removed with if they've just had a quick wash over the pencil. And the pencil I used in this instance is a 2B, just a regular pencil, and it does give a nice dark line that you can see on camera for you to go back to and copy the drawing. If you'd like me to maybe put the drawing in PDF format on my website with these videos I'm making, please let me know, and I'll try and do that for you. Yeah, then that way you could take them off the site and maybe print them off for you to use for practicing painting these paintings that I'm doing. Now this is going to be the second wash on these trees surrounding the cottage, and hopefully it will be the last wash. I don't want to make anything too dark here. I'm just working my way down, but I've got to be putting some real darks in around this cottage now. This is Payne's grey and sap green. It just flicks with this smallish round brush. Still conscious of leaving gaps in the trees. It's so easy to overpaint everything in the moment. Just working my way down the edge of the edge of the roof. Just trying to make sure it's accurate, nice accurate lines before I start with the wash on the actual tree itself. Going into these pools of paint on my palette. The palette, by the way, is a John Pike palette. I do like it. I do like this large working area because you can see the way I work with these large puddles of paint. I move from one to the other and then go back to what I've mixed in the first place sometimes, or add to it. Now I'm just doing the edge of the tree there, a few dots and dabs, give the impression of some more leaves, branches and things. You can see how that really shows out the cottage there with its light roof. Switch to using the side of the brush now, just trying to get it to bounce across the surface, get that nice broken edge. I do enjoy painting trees in this manner. I find it quite exciting. I don't particularly want hard edges here, so I've just smudged it with my finger. I've always found that sometimes my fingers come in quite handy for blending. And still leaving a few small gaps in the tree, nice and dark. That line there on the top of the cottage. And while that's still wet, popping in some darker colour there, pure neutral tint, very dark grey. And we're going to give this tree on the right hand side the same treatment, trying to keep everything looking, every area looking different to the next. Don't want it as a large dark mass. You can achieve this by using other colours, or sometimes just by going in with a really dark wash and then going over with some water on the edges. Now I've got a bit of a feel for it. I'm just going around doing these edges. Nothing more than a glancing blow really with the side of the brush. It does help using rough paper with the undulations. Just catch the top of them. There you see I've added water there to vary the tones. Very carefully going around the chimney pots. Very much a feature of the cottage. And then going light and dark with the shades on this tree. Working quickly, covering up the first wash. This kind of flicking motion with the brush is really just a case of practicing yourself and getting your own method of doing it. Every artist's got a different way of dealing with things like trees, and then losing that edge with some water, keeping it all very varied. Trying to keep some of this undercolour there, which was the Jaune Brilliant, not covering up completely. Once again, going in dark and putting some water on the brush, bringing it down. The board is at a slight angle, so the water does run down a bit. Going to go nice and dark at the bottom, same as I've done with the top left. Really framing this, really framing the cottage. And bringing in the trunk, making sure that it meets the bushes below, it's not sort of floating in the air. Just looking at the shades on the tree and just varying it. Don't want it all totally dark. Lights and darks. And keeping this tree on the left there very, very simple. Just putting a few marks on the lower part of the tree, keeping those gaps and the light shining through. Keep it looking nice and fresh. Getting the impression of a tree with as few strokes as possible. This is a very fine pointed rigger brush. I do like using this particular brush. It holds quite a lot of paint. It's got an area at the top of the bristles where it's a little bit thicker, like a normal brush, which can hold quite a bit of paint. You just have to practice getting it right with rolling it in the paint so it actually holds quite a bit of paint there. Really good fun to use, doing these fine areas. like working with the head of a pin or something. And there's that tree firmly planted in the ground behind those bushes. Notice the lights and the darks there. Just getting a bit of variety there. And then doing these final bits and pieces on the cottage. Just going back to the with the Payne's grey to those trees on the right hand side, and now doing some of the sky area. Using that very pale mixture on the right there, Jean Brilliant and lots of water. Just popping these sky in after. Not making too much of it. Just keeping it very light. And a little bit of grey. That will dry out. A little bit lighter than that. And then the final marks on the road. Some grey for the trees there at the back. Getting those finished off. And having a quick look round just to see where I can just improve things at the end without getting too carried away. Just like to use my my smaller brushes to give the impression of a few leaves here and there.